So obviously Saka is going to be out for several weeks. I think there is a super obvious replacement, but no one is talking about them because psychologically people don't want to go there. But he's the guy.
Cunha ban is probably going to come in at any point now. He's probably going to get it on Christmas Day.
It's not very Christmassy, is it?
No.
I've gotta done it. I've gotta done it.
It's annoying because I have to give you this one.
The gap is closed.
Hello and welcome to the Gameweek 18 episode of Stick to FPL.
The Premier Fantasy League podcast. Oh man, that's so much worse when we say it together.
Welcome to the Christmas special.
Oh yeah. I suppose it is a Christmas special, even though the Game Week 18 technically starts on Boxing Day. Like the build up towards it is in the build up to Christmas.
Well, I mean, I reckon 75% of the people who watch this on YouTube will probably watch it on Christmas Eve.
Do you think?
Yeah, but it tends to be like the second or third day when we get a lot of our views, and that'll be 2 days away from now.
Yeah. Do you think anyone will listen on Christmas Day? Like, you know, maybe you're like really antisocial and like you're having your Christmas dinner, your family's all around you. You just can't be bothered with it. Earphones in, stick to FPL. Beautiful stuff.
There's probably going to be a few people who are just sick and tired of the family and all the yapping. And it's like, you know what? I need to figure out what I'm doing for Game Week. It's 18.
Yeah, it's
so
important.
Here they are.
Do you think people will be forgetting the deadline as well? Because they'll be too busy.
I think people will be too hungover and stuff.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hungover on Boxing Day, making silly moves because you haven't done your research properly, which is why it's ever more important to listen to Stick to FPL podcast specifically.
Exactly.
And the FPL Mate channel and FPL Sim on TikTok.
Exactly.
Maybe. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, happy Christmas Eve, happy Boxing Day, happy whatever it is when you're watching this. How are you, FPL Mate?
I'm all right, FPL Sim. I'm all right, mate. Pretty good game week for me. I think pretty good game week for a lot of people. It was a really high scoring one, but also a painful one because there was a young Mr. Morgan Rogers sitting on a lot of benches this week. I really, really regret benching him. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. So that was pain. He had a brilliant game against Man City.
He did. I sort of half watched, half listened to that. And it just sounded like he had so many opportunities. And we joked in the last episode about benching a player against Man City. But we still did it.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because we've got stuck in our heads that Man City are a good football team. Like, it's one of those kind of things that you just cannot shake in your head. Oh, it's Man City. Surely they'll get a result. Like, you know, Aston Villa aren't exactly lighting the world alight at the moment. So, yeah, Man City bad. Any player you have against Man City, just play them at this point, I think.
Yeah. I tell you what is good, though.
What?
The deal over our Fantasy Football Hub for the Christmas period.
Oh, this is why I'm letting you lead the shows at the moment, because the segues are beautiful.
Oh, 30 days free.
Yeah, what else?
You get to unwrap the gift of FPL.
Nice.
I think this is maybe I was a little bit ill prepared for this, but Fantasy Football Hub give you all the tools that you need, and they are the lovely sponsors of this show. So do check them out. 30 days free. This is going to end after the Christmas period.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure
it is a Christmas deal, so it'd be weird
yeah.
if it carried on.
People kind of got lucky because it stretched over from Black Friday.
Yeah.
Well, Green Friday, as they call it over at Fantasy Football Hub. And it stretched into the Christmas period. So don't forget to make use of that and check it out.
Indeed. And of course, everything that we show on screen today, well, a lot of stuff, is directly from the Fantasy Football Hub app and website. So we use their tools all the time. We bring some of the things that they offer to you guys for free. But if you want to check out all of the other stuff and use it specifically for your team, then do make sure you use the link in the description and the link tree. Shall we get going?
We will. I will just remind the lovely viewers, please hit that subscribe, hit that like, drop a comment, 5-star reviews, follow us on the socials. I need some Twitter followers, please. Thank you very much.
You do. You have absolutely you're washed on Twitter.
Yeah.
I can't lie.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I got great tweets though, so I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the occasional Rafinha!
It's just the word Rafinha. It's got nothing to do with FPL. Barca fans.
But alas, it's been a hectic game week, and we are just coming off the back of a insane Liverpool. Well, Spurs versus Liverpool game.
Yeah, man. We're recording on the Sunday, so like the game has literally just finished, like what 20 minutes ago as we record. So fresh in the mind at least, which is always a good thing. But man, Liverpool can't stop scoring. Spurs can't stop conceding. You know what though? Liverpool, are they an overrated defense a little bit there?
I don't want to push that button yet, but it's starting to get concerning, isn't it?
A little bit.
They have been data-wise very well rated. And I'm sure we'll maybe we won't, but the issue that we have over the last couple of weeks has been the fixtures have been trickier.
Yeah, and they have dropped off in the data a little bit. They're down in around 5th for the last 10 or so game weeks, so they're no Arsenal. But they're no
that random goal.
Yeah, I know. That's just Arsenal, isn't it?
But to be fair, that we will talk about Arsenal in a minute. But like Arsenal, Raya saved quite a lot of big chances in that game.
Really good game. He had a really good game.
Yeah. So, even that's concerning.
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
The big thing this game week, though,
Yeah. Speaking of Arsenal,
was Mr. Saka pulling off injured in the 24th minute in a 5-1.
yeah,
And also sitting with crutches after the game.
I know.
Looked like a bad hamstring injury.
It does look like a hamstring injury, and what's worrying is it's the same hamstring again that he injured in only last month, I think it was. Like he's had the hamstring issues, and you know the fact that he's on crutches, it's not looking good, Brev. It's really not looking good. And the difficult thing is with Mikel Arteta is we're not going to get any definitive information from this. Like everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, let's just wait for press conferences to see what the deal is with the Saka injury. How long is he going to be out for? We are not going to learn a thing. Saka could be out for the next 2 years, and Arteta will still be saying, "Well, we'll see. Yeah, well, you know, we got training tomorrow, so you never know."
Here's the thing, right? Did you see that passage from I think it was Zinchenko's book where he says Arteta purposefully like convolutes stuff and like asks players to like show up to team training or like to show up for pictures or like show up on the team bus.
Crazy.
Just to trip people up. What if Arteta was like, yeah, go out there with some crutches?
What you're saying? No, what? So okay, so it's a minor tightness in the hamstring, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was
because clearly
precautionary.
something happened.
Something happened, and maybe it was precautionary.
And then Arteta has literally said, "Let's ham this up."
Yeah, proper. Rile the people up. Let's make sure in our next fixture people haven't got a clue Saka's going to be ready.
He's got a doctor at the stadium saying, "Make a quick cast for us, shove it on him, and send him out in front of all the cameras."
I mean, the casts are always ready, right? They've probably got like about 10 of them available just in case.
Just lob him on his legs, send him out for the cameras.
Stick it on. I don't know. I mean, I remember Edison being in a sling after a collarbone injury and being available immediately the next game week as well. So I don't think this is the be-all and end-all, but I think we have to go off the fact that it's a hamstring issue.
Yeah, and I think first instinct is, 3 to 4 weeks?
Yeah.
We're probably thinking a best-case scenario, 2 weeks. And even that, how many game weeks would that cover? So that would definitely be this game week. It would be game week 18, 19, and 20. So we're really looking at 3 game weeks out minimum.
And that's a week and a half, basically.
Yeah. And then, thankfully, there's a little bit of a break between 20 and 21. So I could see him back in 21. But you miss all of these great fixtures. So Arsenal play Ipswich next. And then in game week 19, they face Brentford, obviously pretty poor defence, and then Brighton, who have been really weak defensively as well. So you're missing 3 really big fixtures, and it's such a shame to lose Saka at this point. Because I think when a lot of people bought him, they were thinking, yeah, I'm going to get him ready for all of these great fixtures that are coming up. And now, unfortunately, it's just one of those things in FPL, unfortunately.
So the stick to FPL take is he's a sell.
I think I'm gonna sell him, yeah. I don't want to play Arteta games.
I don't want to play. I'm not having fun.
You're not having fun.
I'm not having fun with any Arteta stuff like that.
There's no fun to be had.
No, I'm gonna get rid as well. Gonna get rid as well.
Okay.
So I think this is gonna be a great opportunity for a bit of divergence because there's been, particularly in the premium department, there's been a very much template 3 big premiums that a lot of people have had in their teams, and it's been Saka, Salah, and Palmer.
Yeah, they have dominated the template teams recently.
Yeah.
And teams with those 3 players have been doing pretty well.
I mean, Saka over the last 5.
Well, he had that one big haul, didn't he, in there?
And then after, it's not been brilliant. But either way, I think this is a really interesting moment in FPL where we're going to see some divergence. So let's have a quick look at what some of the possible options are going to be. So you started us here with the expected points over the last
6 game weeks. Yeah, so got the stats for expected points. So as always, these are the stats that combine XG, XA, the actions players are taking on the pitch, which usually lead to FPL points. Who is looking the best for those kind of things? Mm-hmm. And here is our list. Can you read it?
I will do a quick run through of the top few. It starts off with our friend Clover, who obviously has been having a lot of penalties.
4 penalties
in the last 6 game weeks.
Yeah.
So those expected points are off the charts.
Indeed.
Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, and by the way, this is midfielders below
Saka.
Saka's price.
Yeah.
So no Palmer, no Salah.
Yeah.
Everyone but Salah and Palmer, because I'm assuming everyone has these players. If you don't, that's your replacement, basically.
Basically. So Bruno Fernandes is essentially top of this list.
Yes.
At 5.3 expected points per start. Then we've got Tavernier, 2 Bournemouth players in the top 3. And then it's got Ismail Assar over at Crystal Palace.
Yep.
And then it's Amad Diallo, Martin Ødegaard, Anthony Gordon, Jared Bowen, Enzo Fernandez, and then Saka, Thomas Partey, Son, and Mitoma.
Yep. So, I mean, you're arguably replacing Saka with a better player or a better statistic.
In theory, yeah. But who are you going to pick? The option that jumps out at me here is obviously going to be Bruno Fernandes, and that's the probably player that most people will consider first.
I think most people will.
Mm-hmm. What's your take on this?
When we're talking about Saka replacements, I have a very specific take on this. Mm-hmm. And I look through all the numbers and I see lots of players like, oh, we see Bruno in here, similar price to Saka, we can move to him. You know, Ødegaard, he's got pretty good numbers as well for a Saka replacement. Maybe you could just make a direct switch to Ødegaard. And all of these are fine moves. But what I have definitely noticed is that a lot of the cheaper players are pretty much exactly the same kind of data, putting up the exact same numbers
in comparison to Bruno and Saka.
And Ødegaard and, you know, anyone slightly more expensive, Bowen, or, you know, some people will be looking at Foden. And my mind immediately goes to Ismail Assar. Immediately. You're looking at a player who is in better form than these guys, who is got great fixtures coming up. I think he is the guy to go for, but I wouldn't even be against going for an Enzo or going for an Ahmad, because the difference of 3 million between these cheaper guys and the expensive guys, when you're getting pretty much identical stats, identical output, better fixtures in many cases, it seems to me just go for the cheap guy as your Saka replacement.
Yeah. His data is very strong.
Sar has been going under the radar like for a little while now. I picked him. I play draft fantasy as well, and I picked him up in my draft fantasy team around a month ago because I saw a slight uptick in his data, and he's been absolutely smashing it for me in that team.
Just going to read out a few of these for the audio. 2.83 shots per start, 1.83 shots on target, 2.5 in the box, over one big chance a game.
Yep.
Next year of 0.42, highest on this list aside from penalty taker Kluivert, who's had quite a few of those. Obviously, the goals are 0.67, 0.2 expected assists at 0.33 actual assists. So very strong data. Really
strong data for a player of his price, particularly. I mean, we're talking 5.7 million here.
Yeah. I guess there's. I remember a few seasons ago when Gundogan went on just this absolutely insane run.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had De Bruyne, and I think De Bruyne got injured. And everyone was like, well, what do I do with all this money? And we were all like, well, Gundogan is right there. He's smashing it. Half the price.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to pull all the money
That's
out
it.
just because he's half the price.
Exactly. But people have this psychology thing where they think, oh, I've got all of this money. Oh, I may as well go out and buy a Bruno or a Foden. Like people were going for like Son this week. You said before the podcast, you made a great point. In a 5-3 game, Son has got 0.
6.
It's 6. Sorry, yeah.
He's got 0 attacking returns. Yeah. And you'd expect him to score against teams like Liverpool or even assist.
Exactly.
It's his kind of game.
Yeah. And people will go there because they'll think, oh, well, I mean, I've got all this money. I may as well buy a Son. There are cheap guys right now doing everything that Son can do and better. Like Sar.
Pause.
Well, right now.
Let's have a quick look at the best fixtures over the next few. So this is ordered by...
This is just general best fixtures.
Overall.
Yes.
So attacking and defense in consideration here.
Yeah.
Top of the list is Liverpool with Leicester, West Ham, Manchester United coming up. Forest, I think that says Brentford, and then Ipswich after that. Man City have a very, very, very interesting next three.
And people were, a few weeks ago particularly, people were talking about, is this the moment we get Haaland back? Let's target Gameweek 18, 19 to bring Haaland back in the team.
Are you even thinking about it?
Not one bit.
Even with all the money you could be pulling out of Saka?
No, I don't care. Honestly, I could have unlimited budget right now and I still don't think I'd put Haaland in my team, which is crazy to say.
I think I agree with you. So, Man City next, Everton, Leicester, and West Ham. Everton at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home.
Yep. And then Brentford and Ipswich after that as well.
These are some of the best fixtures they're going to have in the league.
They're incredible.
These are, in any other scenario, we would be clamoring for Man City players, but they're just playing so badly.
Yeah. And it's not like there's any standout players in particular. I maybe put Gavardio as the exception to that. I think Gavardio's played fine. I think the rest of the team has just looked completely off it.
But Stones is gone now, so Gavardio could be playing centre-back.
Great point. Great point. There's no Diaz. He's out for a while as well. Akanji's coming back, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, Gavardio and Akanji are the only fit defenders at the moment.
Foden did score.
Yeah. Did you see the goal?
I didn't know.
A bit dodgy.
Was it? I was watching a different game.
A bit of a clamour that happened, and he just kind of, ball kinds of falls to him in the box, and he just smashed it in.
Okay. But I don't know. Does that kind of breed confidence a little bit?
Just so crazy that it's his first goal of the season. But that's how it starts, right? And I'm a certain believer in fixtures breed form.
Yeah.
So there's no way Man City are going to lose all of these games.
No way. What? I mean, we say that.
No, but there's no way. They're not going to do it.
You would have said that 11 weeks ago. Well, 11 games ago when they've now won 1 in 11, 1 in 12.
1 in 12. Yeah. 8 losses.
You would have said, they're going to win at least 2. I mean, that's worst case scenario. Like the worst team in the world would win 2 of these games, and they won 1.
I know, but...
I know what you mean, though. It's like Leicester. If you think Man City are bad, watch a Leicester game, seriously.
Leicester, West Ham. I mean, Everton, fair enough, are pretty strong, but they're stronger at home, right? And then Brentford, Ipswich, these are the games that they should be scoring. But let's put them to the side for a minute, because obviously a lot of people won't be considering this.
Okay.
Crystal Palace.
So no Foden, just to...
For me, not just yet. I don't think he's a buy. I'd give him one more game.
Okay. Wait and see.
Yeah.
So, for the Everton game, I suppose. Yeah,
because the Everton game can be tricky as well. And Everton tend to be a bit boggy for Man City. But
yeah. But Crystal Palace, sorry.
Crystal Palace, Ismail Assar.
Yeah, so I think game week 18 away against Bournemouth is not the ideal hopping on point because I do quite rate Bournemouth as a defence. And if you look at Bournemouth's defensive numbers, they are kind of top 5 at the moment for expected goals conceded, non-penalty. So they are one of the stronger defences in the Premier League, and it's an away fixture. However, Sarr is just in incredible form right now. And in many instances, it doesn't matter who a player plays. If they're in good enough form, they'll score against anyone. And we've already seen that. He's just scored against Arsenal, came close to scoring on another occasion as well in particular, but he had a few chances in that game. He's just a guy at the moment.
Brilliant finish against Arsenal as well.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, awesome. So I think if Eza was available, I'd maybe be having a little look at him as well. But right now, I think for me, Sarr is the best Saka replacement.
I'm not with you on that.
Really?
I'm not there. I mean, the data is brilliant, but I'm just not there. I don't know if I can believe.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
Like Sarr has historically been a great football player. Like when he played for Watford, like he's always been a highly rated player. He's playing for a good Crystal Palace team that is looking good at the moment. I know they've just been battered by Arsenal twice in a row, but we are the mighty Arsenal, and we'll beat anyone, including Everton one day. But that's as we know, Everton are a crazy team,
super team. Dawn Scheich at the helm.
Yeah, no, Dawn Scheich is gone.
Sean
Dyche is back. Do you know, by the way, how many 0-0s Everton have had this season?
I'm gonna go 3.
You think they've had 3 0-0s this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've had one against Chelsea, one against Arsenal, one against Brentford, one against West Ham. Wait, any more? That's Newcastle as well. So that's 5. That's it. Like in the last 11 game weeks.
Wow.
They've had 5 0-0s in the last 11 game weeks.
Just putting points on the board the hard way.
It's like they would be happy to just go a season 38 points, 0 goals scored, 0 goals conceded.
They'll stay up.
They probably will stay up.
On goal difference, they'll kill it as well.
Yeah, that's a very good goals difference for a low down the table team.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I absolutely love Shodash because he figured out a couple of months ago that he's like, listen, there's no way I can teach these guys to score. So
Just forget it.
I don't care about scoring anymore.
Give up.
I want to get my points on the other side of the pitch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to concede.
give up.
He was saying, because Maresca and Shodash were like very complimentary to each other after on their press conferences this week. And so Maresca was like, yeah, like his style of play is like, it's very good, it's very solid, it's defensive. Like we'd struggle to break that down. Like anyone would struggle to break that down.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche was like, yeah, look, we've had some decent times. You know, it's been 7 clean sheets in the last 11 games. You know, we haven't really had much losses. Granted, there's a few draws in there, but it's all right.
Don't care.
Like, you know what? You fucking know what you're sorry. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, alas. Anyway, he's an interesting manager. But let's go back to our fixtures.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace are 3rd. Fulham are 4th.
Yeah.
Any interest there?
For midfielders, not really, right?
Iwobi was a little bit interesting this week. People were talking about him.
See, I didn't watch that game. No,
I
I was
didn't watch it
watching
either,
I
but
was watching Chelsea.
It seemed to be a bit of a snooze fest from the 0-0.
Yeah, but like Iwobi, it's like respectfully, I love Iwobi as a player, but like he's never been an FPL asset, and just because he scored a little flurry of goals here and there, like his data's never been that good. Like when you watch him on the pitch, yeah, he occasionally pops up with something, but I don't think he's like ever been the guy.
Yeah,
and
I don't buy that either. But I didn't buy that either, basically. Because I think the discussion was between him, Ahmad, and Enzo. And I think for me, at the moment, it's probably Ahmad, Enzo, Iwobi.
For sure, 100%. Well, I'd have put Sarr above all of them.
Yeah,
but
I'm not putting Sarr in the category, but
fair. But like I think with Fulham in particular, the goals are spread so widely. You don't know who's going to pop up and score. Sometimes it's going to be Iwobi. Sometimes it's Harry Wilson coming off the bench scoring something. Maybe Adama Traore gets something. Raul Jimenez, Muniz, Smith Rowe, Pereira. Like you don't know where the goal's going to come from ever. You know, going for Iwobi, you got like a 1 in. If Fulham score, when like you get the notification on your phone, and you like. Fulham have scored. You know you've got a Fulham player in your team. You got like a 1 in 7, 1 in 8 chance of it being Iwobi.
Yeah,
you know what? Good enough.
Probably 1 in 10 to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, even Robinson gets in the business sometimes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I wouldn't be shopping at Fulham, but Spurs are next on the list, and there are a number of very interesting Spurs assets. Son aside, because I think people probably are a little bit colder on Son. But James Maddison has had another game where he scored.
Indeed, he has.
Kulusevski has scored like 5 on the bounce.
Yeah, Kulusevski's interesting. His data's never been quite there. But Maddison, definitely, I feel that a little bit more. Set piece taker. I like a set piece taker. Always get that extra route to points. Which is one of the reasons I like Enzo, by the way. I was watching Chelsea today. And Enzo, there was a prime free kick where...
Just outside the
box. You're thinking Palmer's going to take this, but Enzo takes it, and they do a little routine, and Enzo takes the shot. So I think set piece share is important to have that extra access to points. You never know when you're going to get corner or free kick or something go your way.
Yeah.
And Maddison has, set piece dominance really at Spurs. We've seen Porro take some in the past, but I mean, when Maddison's on the pitch, it's him. I think minutes are more of a concern for Maddison, but he's done enough, I think, to play himself into the team.
Yeah. My only issue with Maddison is he seems to, number one, haul in moments when you don't expect him to haul.
Okay.
Smashed Man City, obviously now scored against Liverpool. He recently hauled with the brace. I can't remember who he was playing against. But most of his points have come in about 4 or 5 games this season. where he's like mega hauled as opposed to trickling along.
Yes.
And that makes it very challenging to own as an FPL asset because it means, all right, I'm going to have to wait and hold through these 2s and 3s and 1s until he smashes in a 15-pointer against possibly a difficult opposition.
Yeah, I mean, you say that. I'm looking through some of his games recently. He scored against Liverpool, twice against Southampton, assist against Chelsea. He in the past 6 game weeks, he's only blanked against Bournemouth and Fulham, who aren't bad teams.
So looked at a little bit over a more longer term period.
Yeah, longer term, I think that minutes was the issue was minutes.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I think Maddison historically has always been that streaky guy. And if you pick him up in your FPL team at the right moment when he's on one of his hot streaks, then that usually goes quite well. But they do play Forest away next. You know how I feel about Forest.
Spurs are the second highest scoring team in the league. Spurs will score. I have no doubt about that.
Maybe. I mean, I think that their next 6 fixtures are good because we have Wolves at home in there and Leicester at home in there.
But Leicester's right at the end, isn't it?
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll go for a Spurs midfielder right now, to be honest. But Maddison is worth a mention and name check at least.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to quickly flick you back over here.
Yeah.
Because I want to ask you about Martin Ødegaard. Because obviously we know the fixtures coming up for Arsenal are brilliant. Why not an Arsenal player?
Yeah, so if like obviously my preferred option is Myla Sarr, but if I had to go for someone like 8 million plus, I think I'd go Ødegaard ahead of Bruno.
Why is that?
I prefer the fixtures. Ødegaard's going to now be on penalties. He's going to have more set piece share as well now. So he's going to be taking some corners, which is obviously very useful for Arsenal, and free kicks as well.
He'll be on penalties.
Exactly. So penalties, corners, free kicks. A lot of the stuff he didn't have before, but actually his data's pretty good recently as well. He is getting opportunities. So I don't think he's like a super obvious guy to buy, but he's definitely an option at this point.
Yeah. I think someone's obviously going to have to take over that attacking impetus. Again, he didn't seem to get many attacking returns in that 5-1 either.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And this is my issue with Ødegaard. He is getting chances, but he's not in form at the moment. He's not.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking for a form guy, he's not your guy. And it is speculative, but the fixtures are good enough where, you said earlier, fixtures breed form.
Yeah.
And it could be that this is the impetus he needs to pick up that form.
Especially without Saka, someone's got to do it, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to quickly ask you about Gordon and Bowen, because I think they're the other 2 interesting options on this list particularly.
Yep.
How do you feel about those 2?
I'll do Bowen first. I think the fixtures take a turn after this game week. It's not great, if you go back to fixtures. So they have Southampton away next, but then it's Liverpool, City, Fulham, Palace, Villa, Chelsea, and then Brentford, and then Arsenal. So you could say, yes, Southampton, they have Brentford way out in Game Week 25, and maybe we consider Man City away a good fixture.
Brilliant fixture, that.
I guess so.
Target.
Yeah, but like...
Who's playing Man City? Everton. Give me McNeil. Is he fit?
No.
Give me Ndai.
Give me Ndai. Really? You should have gone for him differential of the week. That coming up, by the way, guys.
Whoa. No spoilers.
No spoilers,
but someone's happy in this room. It's definitely not Daniel.
No, it's not. It's not. But yeah, no, not super keen on Bowen just because of the fixtures.
Despite the Southampton. Because I think a lot of people will look at that next fixture and be intrigued, right?
Yeah, but it's a short. It's such a short-term move. And Southampton, under new management, just got a nice 0-0 draw, a clean sheet. Yeah. Like the first thing new managers do when they arrive at a football club,
lock up that defense.
Tighten things up, and then we'll do the fancy stuff after. Yeah. And I think that's why we saw a blank with Fulham. Yeah. And
do you reckon Sean Dyche does consulting?
What for new managers?
Do you reckon you could hire him for an hour and say, listen, chat to me. You obviously understand this league, yeah. Defensively, what do you do? Help a brother out.
Yeah, man.
Here's a couple of grand.
100K. If I'm Sean Dyche, an hour of my time could save you from relegation. You know how much millions that is? 100K an hour.
Okay.
Pay the money.
Couple of $100,000. Do you reckon he'd do it?
I'd be a fool not to. But it's like rivals against him, isn't
That's
it?
the thing, yeah. Who you helping?
You'd have to be sly about it.
And you know what? La Liga managers or like Bundesliga managers,
Yeah.
Serie A, League One, just get on the phone to
The
Sean
Sean Dyche methodology.
Light 200k, but you'll save your season.
Exactly.
Quickly gonna flick over to the cheap defensive cheap midfielders.
Yeah.
Again, Clove at top of the list. Tavernier, Ismail Sarr, Ahmad, Enzo.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone beyond that, other than Semenyo, probably isn't an option. There's also Rodgers down there. But again, these are players that people probably already have in their team.
Well, a lot of them
looking to consider.
Yeah, but you say that, but like I've got Enzo and Rodgers right now. I have no problem adding a third cheap guy if the cheap guy is performing well.
I have a problem with that. I really have a problem.
But this
with
is
that.
it. It's psychological.
It's not psychological. I think it kind of traps you a little bit.
Not only if you spend the money.
You gotta have that money sat in the bank.
I'm fine with that.
I gotta spend it on Isak.
You have got to spend it on the
I've got to spend it on Isak.
Yeah.
So if I pull all the money out of Saka, it's concerning. But why don't you rank? Excuse me. Why don't you rank Sarr, Ahmad, Enzo, Semenyo, and Rodgers?
Okay.
I'll give you my ranking first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sarr, I'm not sure I believe the hype, but he's obviously performing at a very good pace at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And the fixtures are good.
And the fixtures are good. I'm still going to go Ahmad first. And then I'm going to go Ismail Sarr. Then I'm going to go Enzo. Sorry, no, that's not even true because I forgot about Rodgers there. Okay, let's quickly flick over to the fixtures for Rodgers.
Yeah.
Villa are facing Newcastle, Brighton, and Leicester. So the fixtures are decent.
Yeah, 2 of the next 3. Very nice.
So I'm going to go Ahmad, Rodgers, Ismail Sarr, Enzo, Semenyo.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But they're quite close. Like, they're not that far apart.
Yeah.
Where are you?
For those 5, and to be fair, I'm not sure if any others break into the top 5. I mean, I would put Sarr number 1 pretty comfortably. And then I would be, I think, close between Enzo and Ahmad for this week. But I'm going to go Ahmad.
Okay.
So Sarr, Ahmad, Enzo, then Rodgers. Because, I don't know, I think there's some tough fixtures in the next 2 for Villa. Like it's Newcastle. I know there's Newcastle and then Brighton, actually, to be fair. But they've got like Everton and Arsenal in the next 5 as well. I think all of these guys are probably rotation guys. To be fair, you don't play them every week. But yeah, it's going to be Semenyo at the bottom. He has the worst fixtures by far.
Yeah. Despite him scoring this week against United.
But like the rotation between a couple of those guys could be really good.
Yeah. I think
Although I'd say
for me, I'd only want to have 2 of them. That's my challenge, and I've got 2 of them. I've got Enzo and I've got Rodgers.
Yeah.
So I'd be concerned about having a third 5 million option.
Fair enough. What
was you gonna say?
I was gonna say I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Let's move on.
Yeah, fine. Let's move on.
Here's the predicted points. Here's what the algorithm thinks that you should be picking, and here's how it's ordering the options in terms of midfield over the next all prices under Saka.
Under Saka.
And this is over the next 4 game weeks.
Yes.
It's got Bruno first.
Yep.
Ismail Sarr second.
Indeed.
Mbeumo third.
Yep.
Phil Foden, Son, and Eze. Is Eze even fit?
No.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's assuming that he might be back in game week 18. If he's back by 19, he'd still be pretty high on this list because the fixtures are so good for Palace.
They are. Okay, so what do you think? You have an issue with Bruno.
I have an issue with Manchester United in general. I'm not quite convinced yet.
For me, the big problem I had with Bruno was positional under the new Amorim system.
Yeah.
And with Mount, that concern materialized.
It did.
But there's no Mount at the moment. And I think the preferred front 3 is one of Xerxes or Højlund and then Ahmad and Bruno at the moment.
Yeah. Because Rashford's now like out of contention.
Yeah.
Garnacho's like floating around, but not quite convincing.
There is still a very big rotation problem over at Manchester United. Again, I was listening to the radio before I came here. 6 changes in the United lineup from the previous game.
Wow.
So it's like Amorim's obviously like messing around with the team, and after a big loss like that against Bournemouth, I wonder how much he's going to faff with it. And I think that continues to be my concern over there. And obviously United are United at the moment. They're not performing the best. They tend to score, but they're not performing brilliantly.
Yeah. I think some Manchester United fans feel that Bruno should be playing a bit deeper as well. Kind of saw some comments about Bruno, you know, Man United shouldn't be feeding the ball to him. He should be the guy feeding the ball to some attackers. So I worry a little bit. But that said, had a lot of good chances in game week 17. Penalty taker. And Sim is flicking his hat all over the place. You happy with how it's settled? He's not happy with the hat.
No, I'm happy with the hat. It's just, don't worry, let's continue. It's flink. It's like, it's lopsided.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a weight.
That's part of the charm.
I'm not charmed.
No.
I'm not charmed. I feel pretty though.
You look pretty, Sim. You do. But yeah, no, Bruno, he's fine. I get it, but like...
He's definitely not your top 3 options then.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, talk to me about Mbeumo.
I mean, the form has started to pick up a little bit again, but the fixtures aren't there. I don't know. I have some trust issues around Mbeumo right now. I don't know about you.
I don't hate him. I'm going to quickly flick back over to the fixtures.
Yeah.
Our friends, Brentford, are very low. They've got Brighton next, then Arsenal, then Southampton, then Man City, then is that Liverpool or Leicester? I think
Liverpool,
and then Crystal Palace away.
Yeah. So if you're calling Man City at home a good fixture now,
it's not that bad as a run, is it?
Yeah. 1 point though on Man City. They are a team that suddenly turn into world beaters from January. So is that going to happen this year?
I think it depends. What kind of signings they make, right?
Yeah. Or or for this season they go to average in January because they've been very much below average.
Sort of some of the they're one of the 2 worst teams in the country at the moment.
They go up a gear in January.
There could be a
they're just going
mid-table team.
They're just going first to third gear or something. Rather than
You're right. I think the fixtures are tricky, and it feels like a bit of a step backwards as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it doesn't feel very fun to me.
Yeah. Foden is interesting slightly, but I don't think this is the entry point because I still need to see a good Man City performance before I can do that. So Foden's going to be on the watch list. And then Son, for me, isn't really an option.
Yeah. And I think players like Foden and Son only make this list for predicted points because of their historical performances, but it hasn't been there this season. We know that. I don't think we go there.
Yeah. Let's move on because there is a friend of ours called Mateos who's likely to get banned from the Premier League very soon.
Yeah, but not permanently, I hope.
I'm telling you, the way he was grabbing glasses, he is going to be kicked out of the league for the next year.
There you go. Well, yeah, Cunha, we are pending suspension for him. A very good chance it could happen before the next. Although it is Christmas. Do you not think...
What, they're in a forgiving mood?
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? He was a bit violent, but come on. Everyone gets violent in Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. What would Jesus do on his birthday? He would forgive. He would forgive one of his disciples.
They're looking at each other like, hey, you ever beat someone up on Christmas? Yeah, my wife got it bad last night.
That's dark. That's dark.
So, you're right. Maybe they are in a bit of a forgiving mood.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably nothing to this, but...
He's been charged.
He has, but can't ban him on Christmas. It's not very Christmassy at all.
Also, it's not like, maybe they're not working.
Oh, yeah. They take a couple of days off.
You know what I mean?
Sort it out in the new year.
Either like, we'll just deal with this after. Paperwork taking too long.
Yeah.
Emily's off. Who's going to print? Who's going to print? They'll be in trouble. Okay, so either way.
If he is suspended.
Which
is a very real possibility.
There's
a very Grinchy possibility.
Yeah. There's a strong likelihood. We're obviously having the same conversation we were having last week, that Isak and Jackson are the clear best options.
Well, Isak is the clear best option.
Isak is the clear best option. And then
Jackson is below that. But I think if you haven't got Isak, I think it's really easy. Like, even for a -4, you've got Saka and you've got a striker you don't like. It doesn't even have to be Cunha. If it's João Pedro, if it's Raul Jimenez, who we know is now a minutes risk, you've got a slam dunk -4 there
Yeah.
Downgrade your Saka, upgrade the striker you don't like to an Isak. Done. Easy.
So now it becomes very easy with the Saka issue.
Yeah.
I wonder, someone out there who does already have Isak,
Mm-hmm.
are there any other options here we should be considering?
I guess Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm.
After that, honestly, I don't know.
Who's your current third striker?
My current third striker is João Pedro, but I'm looking at ways to get him out, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the
I
one
wonder why I didn't bench him this week.
who didn't bench him?
I didn't bench, like, even both of us. Why didn't we bench him?
Or Enzo. We could have benched him or Enzo
Yeah.
for Rodgers.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
Havertz is interesting for me, but obviously Gabriel Jesus is now suddenly a wonderful striker. So
Well, that's probably my third player. It would probably be Jesus based on form because he scored 3 in the League Cup against
yeah,
Crystal Palace.
Not enough for me. I do not believe Jesus is a good striker.
But it's Christmas.
I refuse to believe Jesus is a good striker.
It's his time of year.
Yeah, and then the next game week is after Christmas.
Yeah, and then he'll be getting ready for Easter. Obviously.
Didn't Jesus die on Christmas?
What? No.
Or was he born on Christmas?
Born on Christmas,
Oh,
died on
died
Easter.
on Easter. Okay,
Well,
my bad.
died and then came back alive on Easter. He does a bit of everything. Oh, Jesus.
Interesting.
Different Jesus, though, in fairness.
Okay, let's focus.
Struggling to focus a little bit today.
Evan Nilsson is an interesting pick.
Is he? I don't know. I'm worried. Enes Unal keeps getting subbed on for Evan Nilsson. And I'm wondering if Evan Nilsson's going to drop out the team because even though his numbers are good, he's not been putting the ball in the back of the old net, perhaps as much as we would have hoped recently. I mean, how many goals? 0 in the last 6 game weeks. 3 assists there, but 0 goals in 6. I don't know. Seems a bit dicey.
I think the final option on this list, and the play that I was going to be buying this week, should Saka have been fit, was going to be Chris Wood.
Yeah.
Who, despite him not scoring in this game week, had a huge opportunity that won't show up in the data because he missed his shot. It was the one that Aina scored.
Oh, yeah.
The ball sort of essentially went through Wood. He miskicked it, and Aina finished it off. But brilliant opportunity again. Really doing well this season. Is he an option?
Yeah, I think he'll probably come in 4th for me.
After Isak, Jackson, and
Jesus.
Jesus is 3rd after one game.
2 games.
After
Crystal
one
Palace.
Premier League game.
Doesn't matter. Like, they all count the same.
No, that's some bias coming in there. There's no
Of course
chance
it's biased.
that Jesus, after one game, is a better option than Chris Wood, who's been doing it all season.
I'm probably giving it one more game week. Jesus will very well be in my team by the new year.
Oh my God, no chance.
Jesus is like, 6.7 million? I'm going to double check that number right now. 6.7 million, yeah.
6 million too expensive, if you ask me.
Oh, so you'd pay 0.7 for it?
I'd pay 0.7 for
Fair.
it. Yeah.
But no, seriously, I like back attackers in form, strikers in form is like the key, I think. And he has that, or certainly the beginning of that. We've got Ipswich are next, and then Brentford, and then Brighton. These next, and then Spurs at home. To be fair, Spurs, as we know, can see goals. Then Villa, then Wolves, then Man City, who we now think are bad, then Leicester, then West Ham. I can keep going. The fixture, well, I can't keep going because the fixtures get a little worse after that. But that is, for me, an insane run of fixtures. We wanted an Arsenal attacker for this. We can't have Saka right now. Gabby Jesus. He has arisen.
There's 2 Gabbies I'd prefer over him. That's
What,
crazy.
Martinelli?
I'd prefer Martinelli and Gabriel over him.
Crazy.
That's
Crazy.
madness. Gabriel Jesus, for me, is just not an option. Not an option at all.
Well, you'll see. You'll soon see. He's going to prove the doubters wrong.
3 years later.
Maybe. Be retired.
Let's see how he does.
You'd be playing for Botafogo by then, I imagine. Corinthians.
Let's take a quick look at what the AI thinks over the next 4 game weeks. Isak, obviously top of the pile. The AI does not think that Cunha is going to get banned. Clearly, they know something that is happening in those offices.
Yeah, he's in number 2.
Yeah, he's in number 2. Mateta is 3rd.
Fixtures.
That's the fixtures, obviously.
Impact of fixtures. We haven't mentioned Mateta, to be fair, but I think the form has not been there for me.
He scored in the League Cup, didn't he?
Did he? I should know that. I watched the whole game. I can't remember. Let me have a look. What? Carry on.
I think Mateta scored in the League Cup, and if we're going by goals in the League Cup, this is going to be the second best striker in the world right now, because obviously Gavi Jesus is the first. But he is an interesting option, but you're really, really punting that he is going to pick up some serious form soon. But fixtures breeds form.
Fixtures breed form. I'd rather just take a striker in form, if I'm totally honest. Mateta did score, by the way. But no, you definitely make a valid point. If all competitions count, which they do, Mateta has scored recently. So, yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. But I just think 7.2 for Mateta is too much.
Yeah.
If he's 6.5, if he's 6, I'm all on board. But that's a big price tag, man.
Do you feel like there's a bit of a vacuum in midfield and up front at the moment?
For sure.
Where it feels like there's 8 positions that we need to fill. There's only about 5 players that I want.
Yep. No, there definitely is. A lack of players. Or more so, we've seen a lot this season that the cheap guys are doing so well that it's like you can ignore a lot of the more expensive players. I remember at the beginning of the season, we were saying like, all the player prices, they've priced everyone so well. Everyone is so expensive. We're gonna see a real difference between teams. And we still are seeing a difference between different teams, but that's because people are picking different cheap guys.
Yeah.
Not because the players are too expensive.
Well, that's the thing. There's only 3 senior premium players that are performing at a consistent level, aren't there? If Haaland was still, well, to be fair, Saka hasn't even been doing it, has he?
Saka, and now he's injured, so we're down to 2.
If Haaland had been maintaining what he's been doing at the start of the season, and Salah obviously has been doing what he's been doing, I think it would have been a very, very difficult way to navigate, because how do you keep both Haaland and Salah in your team?
That would have been amazing.
With Palmer as well.
Yeah, that we would have seen a great difference of teams. But yeah, anyway, should we just wrap up on if Cunha is suspended? Number 1 replacement is Isak, obviously.
Yeah. Number 1 replacement is Isak. I think I would put Wood number 2. I'm sorry, I'll put Jackson number 2 but a lot of people have Jackson. But if you don't have Jackson number 2, and then Wood number 3 for me.
Okay. And my third would be Gabi Jesus. But I think number 1 and 2, we agree on, at least.
Yeah. We've been agreed for that basically most of the season, haven't we?
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah.
Captaincy is a very interesting topic this week.
It's not, so you go ahead.
You don't like that I wanted to talk about this. Captaincy is interesting. Obviously, I told you that captaincy would be an interesting thing to discuss today before Mo Salah picked up 21 points against the mighty Dr. Spurs.
And before Leicester got battered again.
And and obviously there's the context of the fact that Palmer blanked against a bit of a stubborn defense in Everton, and Fulham can also be a stubborn defense.
Yep.
So maybe this isn't as, open of a discussion as it would have been if the reverse happened.
Yeah.
But I still think this is something that's interesting. I think some people still will consider Palmer this game week.
I'm listening. Make an argument for Palmer.
First of all, it's Cole Palmer. Yeah,
that's not an argument.
It's hard to argue now because of everything that I've just said. Leicester looks shambolic. Salah looks insane. My problem with Salah is even when he hauls, he doesn't look that brilliant. He scored a couple of easy goals today.
He's a moments player.
That's what I'm saying. And so was Palmer. But I do think Palmer and Chelsea will want to get back on it. This is a bit of a derby for them. I think they'll take it very seriously. I could see Palmer doing well in this game. I don't see him outscoring Salah.
No.
But I think it's something that people should consider.
Yeah. I really don't recommend going outside of Salah this week. I think that's crazy. Like, imagine the people who went someone other than Salah this week, unless you went for Isak.
But
if you went for Palmer last week, your season is just taking a huge blow.
But we said in the game week captaincy, in the captaincy discussion in the last game week podcast,
the
top 3 was number 1 Salah, number 2 Isak, number 3 Palmer.
Yeah. So once again,
we are exactly right.
We were pretty spot on with the top 2, because a lot of people would have put Palmer ahead of Isak. I think.
Yeah. Agreed. And we didn't think that was the case.
Yeah.
Gabriel has snuck into the captaincy discussion.
And that's the defender, Gabriel, by the way.
Not Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel is the 5th best captain according to AI.
Yeah, he's got the 5th highest predicted points
Yeah.
for this game week because we're so certain of an Arsenal clean sheet and his attacking potential.
Yeah.
He's got 5.8 predicted points against Ipswich. That's crazy.
They're essentially guaranteeing a clean sheet or a goal.
Yeah.
That's what the data is saying.
Yeah. So, like, think about it. If, like, Arsenal got, like, a 60% chance of a clean sheet and, like, a 40% chance of Gabriel getting a goal, that makes sense.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Who would you prefer, Isak or Palmer, this week for captaincy?
I prefer Salah. I think, genuinely, the form that Isak is in at the moment, I think I would go for Isak ahead of Palmer.
Yeah, Isak looks scary, doesn't he?
He really does.
I thought captaincy would be a lot more complicated. Let's quickly look at how they've been performing on the,
Against each other.
on the charts.
Yeah, so Salah versus Palmer.
Yeah.
Thought I'd throw this graphic in today.
Salah, I thought, was a lot more creative.
Yeah.
He doesn't create that many big chances, apparently,
No,
in comparison to our friend Cole Palmer.
but I think Salah has better finishers around him, in fairness to him.
So he doesn't have to create as many big chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Salah has way more assists than Palmer as well. Salah, first player to have 10 goals, 10 assists before Christmas.
Whatever in Premier League.
I think that's what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an impressive stat.
Yeah.
And an interesting one too.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. On for a historic season, our friend Salah is.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. He has to win a Ballon d'Or at some point. I think this is the season. He's just mad at it. But he has to win a big title to do that.
Yeah. Liverpool are dominating the Premier League, dominating the Champions League. They're in the League Cup semi-final. FA Cup hasn't started yet, but I'm sure they'll go far in that as well.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
It's a shame there's no AFCON this year, because if he had AFCON this year as well, could be cooking.
But it could also damage him, right?
Oh,
Because
AFCON?
if he doesn't win it, and then it's like, oh, but he didn't win an international trophy. This
True.
player won an international trophy.
True.
Because Rodri won it partially because of that as well, right?
But I think that helps a lot of players who play for maybe some of the lesser nations.
Sorry, that's not true. Rodri's European win was from 2 years ago, not 1 year ago. So that's
Well, no, he won the
Ballon d'Or
Euros.
for last season.
Yeah, but he won the Euros during that season, right? So
Oh, sorry, yes.
So
I'm
he
thinking
won.
of the World Cup.
no.
I'm like, 2022 was 2 years ago. What's Rodri got to do?
No, yeah, he
Messi
won the
the
Euros.
Ballon d'Or for that one. Okay, yes.
Yeah. So like it might actually favour him
Yeah.
to win a Ballon d'Or this year. I can see it happening with no international tournament. It actually might benefit him. Yeah.
Well, he's going to win the Ballon d'Or in my FPL team. Palmer obviously creates a lot more big chances, but it's clear that Salah is the goal threat, right? It's a huge goal threat in comparison.
Yeah. You can see the numbers on the graphic here for audio listeners. Big chances, XG, shots in the box, touches in the box in particular. Salah is the guy in the box. He's the guy in the box, and he's definitely getting the fruits of his labours, and that's going to back up by his points tally this season, which is quite frankly getting out of hand.
How many points is he on so far?
Honestly, the points he has, like a lot of the best players in the Premier League will do lucky to reach his points now by the end of the season. He is on 177 points.
He's going to hit 200 before... No, he's not going to hit 200 before the new year.
Mate, there is a real possibility that he hits 200 before the new year.
Has he got a second fixture before the new year?
So he plays Leicester and West Ham before January.
Oh my God, he's gonna hit 200 points before the new
Like
year.
we consider in FPL, we consider 200 points as the mark of a good full season.
Proper phenomenal season.
If you've had 200 points in a full season in FPL, that is a legendary FPL asset. Salah's going to do it before the turn of the year.
God.
Well, maybe.
Well, the good thing is he's gonna post a Christmas tree and his form is gonna fall off a cliff.
Yes, and
so that's good to know.
Yeah, that is how things work with him.
Shall we move on to our favorite part of the episode? I've got 13 points.
You know what? I have to give this one to you as well.
And you got 2.
Yeah, fair play. Fair play.
Yes.
Like, this one's legit as well. It's not like Erdegaard where you changed your mind last minute.
Was not legit. Erdegaard was legit. I'm not going to do that.
No, it wasn't legit.
I
But,
have closed the gap.
mate, honestly, Oh, you've smashed it. Fair play. Like, you called out Murphy as your differential of the week. He's gone ahead. He smashed it again. Honestly, I think everyone in the comment section needs to give you your flowers now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, it felt good when he scored. Plus, Isak was hauling, and I didn't have Isak. But, Murphy scoring really gave me a bit of joy when he did that. So, thank you, Murphy. If you're watching this, please continue to score. And I hope you have a wonderful season. And,
And a very Merry Christmas to you and yours.
And a Happy New Year.
Yeah. Let's go to the Game Week 18 differential of the week. I've gone for Diogo Jota this week.
I love this pick.
Leicester at home. And we didn't mention him earlier in the Saka replacement. I think for me...
We didn't mention Liverpool at all.
No, we didn't. I think, to be fair, Jota is an interesting pick, but he's a headache. He's a headache player. He's going to cause pain. I can feel it. So I don't mind punting on him as a differential of the week, but do I actually want him in my FPL team? I'm not so sure. If I was a braver man, I'd think about it. If Ismail Assar wasn't popping off right now and there was no one super obvious, I would be at that point thinking of Diogo Jota. If you already got Sarr and you need a Saka replacement, at that point I'd be looking at Diogo Jota, maybe alongside the likes of Ødegaard and Bruno. But for a differential of the week against Leicester at home, he could cook. If he starts, because we don't even know that for sure.
Yeah.
So I've taken a gamble here. 3.2% selected. If anyone out there wants to go for him, enjoy, because it could be very good, but it could also be very, very painful.
I don't want to distract from differential of the week for too long.
Yeah.
But Luis Diaz braced today. Slightly more nailed than Jota.
Is he?
He is, because obviously him and Gakpo can compete for a spot, and Jota and Darwin, when everyone's fit, compete for a spot.
Kind of, but like Gakpo's been playing as a striker.
Hasn't Gakpo been playing off the left and Diaz up front? I didn't actually see the game. I listened to it on the radio.
But this is the point. It's like all over the place, man.
Yeah.
You don't know, because Diaz has played a lot of games up front. So has Gakpo. So has Jota. So has Darwin. And all of these players are capable of playing off the left as well. Diaz is also available now. Harvey Elliott's now available. I ain't touching that.
Yeah.
Keep me away.
Diaz seems interesting. I might take a look at Diaz's rotationness during the period when Jota was fit. But really good differential of the week. I think this is interesting. I hope he starts, because I have an equally interesting pick, and I've gone for Philip Foden.
Yeah.
3.9% owned up against, hopefully, Dawn Scheich.
Hopefully Dawn Scheich.
But
I think it might be another case of the old Sean Dash.
Listen, so long as he gets an assist, I'll be happy. So I'm on a bit of a roll here.
Yeah.
I'm getting more than 1 point.
It does count as a roll, to be fair.
It's 13 points. I've picked up more points in game week 17 than I did from game week 1 to 11 combined.
That's crazy, by the way.
So, I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah,
I've gone for Phil Foden. I think he'll be a decent option. He's something that people can consider for FPL, but again, I'll probably want to see a good performance from City.
One more week.
Yeah.
One more week. I have to say, I think City are probably going to lose 1-0.
Oh, I'll be stuck. I'll be stunned.
Will you?
I think
We're stunned every week. At what point do we stop being stunned by Man City losing and Everton keeping clean sheets? These are like the two most inevitable things in football right now.
They're like the most predictable things to happen.
So why are we stunned by that? It keeps happening.
I don't know. I reckon 1-0 C. Should we have a quick look at our teams?
Yeah, man.
So this is a quick recap on what happened in game week 17. Obviously, the 42 points of Mo Salah are not in this picture because it was taken prior to the Spurs-Liverpool game. But I am currently on about a 2% red arrow from 783k down to like 803k. I've lost like 20k spots. So basically a grey arrow for me.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem you might see at the bottom of your screen is I benched Rodgers and Mikalenko. Yeah. And if you recall, I popped into your deadline stream and I said, I don't think I'm going to sell Aït-Nouri. I might just bench him and play Mikalenko. Because I thought, number one, Everton are Everton. But number two, Castagna is now going to play Chelsea next week. So I thought, I'm going to have one of these players play Chelsea. I'd rather have Mikalenko up against Chelsea than Castagna up against Chelsea. You know what I mean? Anyway, I
You
ended
lost
up,
1 point off that, to be fair. It's like, it's not.
that's the thing. So it's not a big deal. It is what it is. But Mykolenko was a player that I was really like wanting to start. Is the point that I want to get at.
Fair play.
Rodgers is the messed up one because 14-pointer when I've got basically one attacking return outside of Salah in my front 8 is very painful. Now, had I started that?
Yeah. It's a very different game week.
Exactly. It's a big green arrow.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating, but I always say whenever this happens, number one, I was always gonna do it. I was gonna bench Rodgers. And number two, I'd rather have the player than not have the player.
Well, that's exactly it. Rodgers was one of the most sold players in game week 17. So I think, I know it's tough to see the Rodgers points on your bench, and a lot of people will be experiencing this right now. But if you sold Rodgers for a mad, I imagine you're feeling a lot worse. And a lot of people did that.
Yeah, I bet they're mad.
Very good. Very, very good.
Quick look at how I'm lining up for next week.
Yeah, how are you dealing with this situation, man? Run through your team.
It's actually not that bad, man.
Okay.
So I've got Raya in goal, Trent, Timber, and Castagna in defense. I've got Mo Salah captain, Palmer, Enzo, and Rodgers currently starting. And then I've got Cunha, Jackson, and Joao Pedro. In this lineup, I've got Saka benched, Mykolenko benched as well. Now, the current plans is for Cunha to become Isak, probably with or without a ban. And the way I'm going to fund that is by selling Saka.
Mm-hmm.
If I do that, I'm probably going to end up benching Joao Pedro this time.
Really? Against Brentford at home?
Maybe I'll do Enzo. Because he is playing against Fulham.
Rodgers playing Newcastle away.
I'm not gonna bench Rodgers.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna bench Rodgers. He plays so well. I just can't.
Yeah.
And Enzo is playing slightly deeper. He's still not quite as deep as I thought he would be without Lavia, but he is playing slightly deeper. So between Joao Pedro and Enzo, I'm gonna pick one to bench. But the question is, who am I gonna replace Saka with? And I can afford, despite obviously bringing in Isak for Cunha, I'll be able to afford anyone from Bruno down. So I don't know at the moment. My initial instincts tell me to go Bruno.
Okay.
But I'm not certain about which way I'm going to go with that. The plan before the deadline was to bring in Munoz this week as well.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen because I'm going to have to do a -4 to bring in, to sell Saka and Cunha.
To be fair, like Munoz, I don't think anyone needs to bring him in this week. Bournemouth away, it's not the greatest fixture in the world.
Yeah. What my heart tells me is,
What does your heart tell you,
my
Sim?
heart tells me that this is an opportunity to go differential. There's no obvious Saka replacement. I just wanna have fun with that spot, and I don't have many players in my team that I think love that proper differential. Nobody's gonna be having that. And that's why I'm kind of thinking of like a Maddison, maybe Kulusevski, maybe Diaz, maybe somewhere like that, as opposed to, I mean, I guess Ismail Sarr fits into that mold, but I don't believe you, Dan. I don't believe
Fair
it.
enough.
I don't know if I can believe it.
Fair enough.
I need to look into it, but I would like a bit of a fun punt in that spot. So I probably won't go Bruno because of that, because I feel like a lot of the transfers this week will do that.
I think a lot of people will, yeah.
Yeah.
So, right, for the sake of the pod, you're saying Cunha will go to Isak and Saka will go to someone? Bruno is your initial thought, but you're open to...
I'm open to something more fun.
Interesting.
I will do some investigations into Ismail Sarr, and if I'm convinced, I will check it out. But more likely, I'm probably going to pick up a Maddison or a Diaz.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Should we look at your team?
Yeah, man. Yeah, another green arrow for me. Pretty happy.
You're not tired of saying that?
I'm getting quite good at this game. I don't know what you guys are on about. This is easy. It's really not. No, like, the green arrows do keep coming, and I'm very, very pleased with that. But I have to put a lot of that down to Alexander Isak, who has just been phenomenal recently. Another 17-point haul for me. I think I'm up to about 150k-ish after... all the points have been updated, which is very nice. Castagna was my transfer as well, 4.2 million guy. Nice to get the clean sheet there. Rail with a couple of clean sheets. Gabriel making the difference over Timber with his assist there. But like, to be honest, looking through my team, it was only really Salah and Isak with any significant points. Hall has apparently got an extra bonus point out of nowhere, so he's on a 7-pointer now.
Shout out Hall.
Which is nice. And Rodgers on the bench. Like, what it could have been. That's a 100-point week for me if I played Rodgers ahead of Enzo. But let's stop beating ourselves up about it. The thing is about Rodgers is that if we all played him, he would have blanked. So you need people like us to bench him.
That he holds.
So for the people who play him, the few people who play him can get the points. So anyone gloating about getting and playing Rodgers and getting the Rodgers points shouldn't be gloating. You should be thanking us for benching him.
You're welcome.
Because that's the way he trolls. Let's move on to my Game Week 18 team. I think it's just going to be a Saka replacement for me. So we've got Raya and Gabriel against Ipswich. We've got Kirkes at home against Crystal Palace. Hall at home against Aston Villa. I think we're going to back the home defenders this game week. Salah, captain. Palmer. Saka is in there. He's going to be replaced by Ismaila Sarr. I'm not 100% obviously, but that's where my head is right now. I think I'm going to play Enzo ahead of Rodgers, and I think that just comes down to home versus away. And the fact that I'm playing Hall and hoping for a clean sheet there and don't really want to hedge on that one. I'm already going to be hedging on Sarr versus Kirkes. So I don't really want to double that up. Obviously, we've got Isak and Jackson who are looking good. João Pedro, good fixture. Not totally convinced by him. Rodgers, Dino, Castagna on the bench. But I got 2 transfers. Aside from the Sarr transfer, I got 2 other transfers in mind. I'm thinking João Pedro to Gabby Jesus probably next week, because I like this fixture for Brighton against Brentford, sorry. But after that, Villa away on Arsenal. It's probably a good hopping off point if you do have to. And I want Daniel Munoz as well. And I think Dina to Munoz seems like a pretty obvious move as well at some point. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I think in attack, the team will look reasonably good. That these cheap defenders, you never know what you're going to get. I've been fortunate with them recently. I benched Kirkes clean sheet in 17. You don't know when they're going to come. They may not come this week. They may.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Boxing Day tends to be a goal fest.
Oh, that's so true. I didn't even consider that until you mentioned it just now. All right, well,
yeah.
Glad I've got cheap defenders, I suppose.
Yeah, drunk goalkeepers, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Dan, it's been brilliant.
It's
been a chaotic episode.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah,
been a bit of a fun episode.
Yeah,
but, you know, it's Christmas.
I feel like we just couldn't focus properly today. Why? What's wrong with us? But no,
it's the hat.
It's the hat and the jumper, the Christmas jumper and your Christmas hat. But no, I think we got all of the information, all the opinions out there in the end. So we appreciate you guys joining us once again for another episode of the Stick to FPL podcast. If you did enjoy this one, make sure you do drop a like, leave us a 5-star review, subscribe if you haven't done already. And Sim is going to give us some Christmas wisdom.
On Christmas Day, make sure you eat.
Is that it? Is that all you have to say? On Christmas Day, make sure you eat. Obviously, maybe not the poorer people.
On Christmas Day, I hope you eat.
Yes. And think of the needy.
And
love one another.
You don't have to.
We don't love each other. So
catch you on the next episode.